G'day guys and welcome back to the channel for another Fortnite Top 10 video. In today's video we're going to be going through the top 10 greatest shotguns to ever grace the Fortnite map. Now to make this fair we've decided to rank the shotguns based on their current stats, or if they're no longer in the game, the stats when they were last in the game. Let us know in the comments down below where your favourite shotgun made it on the list, and also what you would have had at number 1. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you slap a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing below with the notifications on so you don't miss any new videos. Let's get into it. So to start things off at number 10 we have the drum shotgun. Now the drum shotgun is probably the worst shotgun to ever be added to Fortnite. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on that. And it is probably up there with one of the worst guns to ever be added to Fortnite, full stop. Up there with the burst SMG for me. Now, what made the drum shotgun so bad was it had horrible range, it was very inconsistent, and it didn't hit for very much damage unless you were close enough to the other person to literally stick the gun inside their mouth. So because of that, you didn't really see anyone pick up the drum shotgun, and I think the statistics pretty much show you why. So the drum shotgun came in a grey, green and blue rarity, and it did 180, 192 or 200 damage per second depending on that rarity. It did 45, 48 and 50 damage per shot and had a headshot multiplier of 1.25, so therefore 56, 60 and 62 damage per shot. Now it had quite a high fire rate at 4, but with a magazine size of 12, you'd often find yourself running out of bullets very quickly. With a reload time of around 4.7, 4.5 and 4.3 depending on the rarity, it just didn't make the drum shotgun a very viable choice, and for that reason, the drum gun is number 10 and last on our list. Coming in at number 9 we have the double barrel shotgun. Now the double barrel was a personal favourite of mine when it first came in. I thought it was really cool, however statistically probably not the best shotgun, and it was very inconsistent, and once again the range was no good. You had to really be within 5 or so meters of the other player for it to be effective. Now the double barrel came in a purple and gold variety. It did 271.7 or 285 damage per second depending on the rarity. It did 143 or 150 damage per shot, and with a headshot multiplier of 1.25, it did 178.75 or 187.5 for a perfect headshot. So not quite a one pump if they had full health. With a fire rate of 1.9, the fire rate actually isn't too bad compared to other shotguns on this list. However, with a magazine size of only 2, you'd often find yourself constantly reloading, and with a reloading time of 2.7 to 2.8 seconds depending on the rarity, once again just didn't make it a very viable shotgun, especially compared to the other shotguns on this list, which either have a higher magazine size, do more damage, or they fire quicker than this. And for that reason, with great sadness, the double barrel ranks at number 9. Coming in at number 8 we have the pump shotgun in its grey, green and blue form. Now, I know I'm probably going to cop a bit of flack for this, however, since it has been reduced damage so that none of those rarities can do a 200 shot or a 1 pump for someone at full health, I think it wasn't quite effective as it once was. It also doesn't have a really fast fire rate, and because of that, I think there are other shotguns in those rarities that are just a little bit better, especially if your skill level isn't that high and you're not as accurate with your shots. So the pump shotgun does a 49, 56 or 63 damage per second depending on the rarity, which is 70, 80 or 90 damage per shot. It does have a hefty headshot multiplier at ×2, giving it 140, 160 and 180 per shot, meaning if you hit a perfect headshot, you're probably only going to have to hit them with an SMG a couple of times just to finish them off. Now with a fire rate of 0.7, it is really slow, and a magazine of only 5. With a reload time of 5.7, 5.3 and 5 seconds respectively, I just think there are some other shotguns in this variety that are either a little quicker or do a little bit more damage and therefore deserve that spot above them. So for that reason, the pump shotgun, unfortunately, number 8. Coming in at number 7, and I know I'm going to cop a lot of flack for this, is the charge shotgun in its lower rarity. So it's grey, green and blue types. The reason I've put this above the pump, even though I know a lot of people would still prefer the pump to be in the game, is because if you look at it statistically, to me it actually is a better gun. The charge shotgun has a new mechanic that we haven't quite seen in the Fortnite game yet, meaning players are still getting used to this gun, but at full charge, which takes about a second, it does 1.5 times multiplier. Now if you hit a headshot, it also does another 1.5 times multiplier, meaning that if you hit a perfect headshot at full charge, this gun hits like an absolute truck. Now at full charge, it does 102, 107.95 and 113 damage per second, depending on the rarity. At no charge, it's 68, 72 and 75. When we look at it per shot, it's 80, 85 and 89 at no charge. However, if you charge it up or you hit a headshot with no charge, because they're the same multiplier, it would be 120, 127 or 133. Now, if you hit a headshot, you're looking at 180, 190 or 200, depending on the rarity, or 199.5, close enough. Giving the blue charge shotgun the first shotgun in this list that can actually one-tap an opponent with full shields. With a fire rate of 0.85, it's slightly faster than the pump, but keep in mind you do have to take about a second to fully charge it. It has a magazine size of 3, slightly lower than the pump, and around the same reload time of 5.5, 5.3, and 5. So because of the extra damage it does and the quicker fire rate, I've given the edge slightly to the charged shotgun, and that's why it is in our number 7 position. Coming in at number 6, we have the tactical shotgun in its lower rarities, so it's grey, green and blue types. Now, the tactical shotgun has been nerfed in the last season, meaning it no longer does anywhere near as much damage, especially headshot damage, seeing as that has been changed from 2 to 1.5. So if it wasn't for that, it would probably be a couple of spots higher in this list. However, we are ranking it off their current statistics, meaning it fits in at number 6. Now, the reason I have ranked this higher than the pump and the charge in the same rarities is because I just think it is better for a wider variety of skill base and a more reliable shotgun with its fast fire rate, auto fire and large magazine size. So depending on the rarity, the TAC does 102, 106.5 or 112.5 damage per second. It does 68, 71 or 75 damage per shot, and with the 1.5 times headshot multiplier, it does 102, 106.5 or 112.5 damage per headshot. With a fire rate of 1.5, it's over twice the speed of the pump, and it has a magazine size of 8, which is the same size as the pump and charge combined. It does have a slow reload speed, however, with 6.5, 6.4 and 6.1. However, I think the other attributes more than make up for this, and for that reason the TAC is number 6 on our list. In at number 5, we have the heavy shotgun. Now, the heavy shotgun was buffed last season, which is why it is a bit further up our list than what it would have usually been. And the reason for that is with that slight buff, it can now do over 200 damage with either gun in a headshot, meaning that it can one-tap someone at full shield. Now, the heavy came in a blue, purple and gold variety and does quite a decent job at hitting people at range. It also did 112, 114.8 or 117.6 damage per second, or 80, 82, 84 per shot. Now, with a 2.5 times headshot multiplier, which is huge, it does 200, 205 or 210 damage depending on the variety, more than enough to kill anyone in the game at full shields. It has a fire rate of 1.4, which is only slightly less than the TAC, and a magazine of size of 6, once again only just off the TAC. With a quicker reload time of 4.2, 4 and 3.8, I had to rank this higher than the TAC, seeing as it had higher damage, almost the same fire rate and magazine, a quicker reload time, and if you're accurate, can one-shot someone quite easily. In at number 4, we have the charge in its upper rarity, so the purple and gold versions. Depending on whether it's charged or not, so with no charge, this does 79.05 or 83.3, and at full charge, it does 118.15 or 124.95 damage per second, meaning at no charge, it's 93 or 98 damage a shot, at full charge it's 139 or 147, and keep in mind at no charge with a headshot, that is the same because it's the same multiplier. Now, if you had a full charge and a full headshot, you're looking at 208.5 or 220 damage. That is massive. It hits like a truck, more than enough to wipe out anyone in the game at full shield. Now, it has a fire rate of 0.85 as well, and a reload time of 4.8 to 4.5, and a magazine size of 3. Now, the reason I've ranked the charge above the heavy is basically for ingenuity. The charge has added a whole new mechanic to the game that we haven't seen before, so for that and for the funness of using it, I've added that slightly above the heavy. Coming in at number 3, we have the tactical shotgun in its purple and gold rarities. Now, keep in mind, like the tactical of the lower rarities, this has also been nerfed this season and now does less headshot damage and less damage all round. If the nerf hadn't have happened, it could have easily challenged for the number number 2 or number 1 spot on this list. The reason I've ranked the purple and gold tack above the purple and gold charge is because once again, I just think with its ease of use, it is much more attractive to a wider variety of skill bases, and its higher fire rate means it is more forgiving if you're less accurate. Doing 124.5 and 130.5 damage per second, it's quite a hefty shotgun. It does 83 and 87 per shot, with a 1.5 headshot multiplier. It does 124.5 or 130.5 damage. Now that doesn't seem like that much until you add a 1.5 times fire rate in there, meaning anyone can be 2-tapped with not quite a perfect shot. It has a magazine size of 10 as well, so you aren't running out of shells anytime soon. It does have quite a long reload time at 5.9 at 5.8. The purple and gold tack, to me, is just a really reliable shotgun and deserves its number 3 spot on this list. However, I will say, if you're a little bit more of a skilled player and you are very accurate with your shots, I would probably go with the purple or gold charged, as it does do the more damaging one shot. Coming in at number 2, we have one of the most controversial shotguns to ever be added to the game, the combat shotgun. Now, the combat shotgun was added to the game when the pump was originally taken out, and originally it received a lot of heat. Players were not a fan of this shotgun, and fair enough, it was very inconsistent. Epic fixed that, however, and this shotgun took off to be as big, if not bigger, than the pump shotgun ever was. What made the combat shotgun so good was it was incredibly accurate because it had quite a small hit zone and its range was incredible. The thing was almost like a sniper. It came in blue, purple and gold varieties, and it also had an incredibly quick fire rate, which really set it apart as well. Now it did 135, 142.5 or 148.5 damage per second, depending on the rarity, which meant it did 73, 77 or 80 damage per shot. Now with a 1.5 times multiplier, that meant 109.5, 115.5 or 120 damage per shot. Now that doesn't seem like that much, but when you add it with a fire rate of 1.85 as well as a magazine of 10, it makes an incredibly powerful shotgun. With a faster fire rate than any shotgun we've ever had apart from the drum shotgun and the double barrel, this shotgun was absolutely insane. It did have a slow reload time of 6 to 5.7 depending on the rarity, but with the amount of pellets you had and the fast fire rate, it didn't make a difference. Coming in at number 1 and rounding out the top 10 for this video, we have the iconic, the infamous purple and gold pump. Made famous by clips of sweats everywhere, double pumping or quick editing and one pumping, the purple and gold pump is an absolute icon of Fortnite, right up there with the purple and gold scar. There's just something about pulling a purple or gold pump out of a chest right at the start of the game that makes you yell out with excitement. Something that says, the game is now mine. There is no other shotgun that has this effect in the entire game. The pump is also one of the most controversial shotguns in the game, causing a huge uproar when it was taken out of the game just before Season 9. Probably one of the biggest community uproars ever, and players left the game left, right and center. Now the purple or gold pump does 70 to 77 damage per second depending on the rarity. It also does 100 to 110 damage per shot. With a hefty 2 times headshot multiplier, it does 200 for a purple pump or 220 for a gold pump, meaning more than enough damage to get anyone eliminated out of the game in just one shot. With a fire rate of 0.7, it's not the quickest firing gun in the game. It only has a magazine size of 5. It has a relatively quick reload time of 4.8 to 4.6, but like I said, there is just something about the gold and purple pump that feel right, and when you've got one in your hand, you just feel that much safer running around the Fortnite map. Now I also wanted to give just one quick honorable mention, and I thought I'd give that to the mythic charge shotgun. Now the reason I didn't add that to the list is because obviously it is the only mythic that's currently available, meaning I think it would be a bit unfair to add it next to the other shotguns. However, it is pretty overpowered and does make a good argument for number 1. Doing more damage per second at full charge than the gold and purple pump at 131, also 155 body shot, meaning at full charge you can literally eliminate anyone who has full health plus only half their shields, with a headshot multiplier of 1.5, bringing that up to 232.5 damage, more than enough to headshot anyone out of the game. It has a fire rate of 0.85, which is faster than the pump. It also has a magazine size of 5, matching the pump, which the lower grades of charge do not have. With a reload time of 4.3, it's also quicker to reload than the pump, meaning, to be honest, if I was adding this on the list, it would probably come in at number 1. What do you think, guys? Do you agree with that list? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you slap a like on it, and as always, We'll catch you next time. Bye.